I'm here with Vincenzo and Connor with SunFlower, so thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
It's a beautiful day.
It sure is hot. So tell us a little bit individually about your background and how you came to be.
Sure. You want to start, Paul?
Here you go.
Okay. Well, I kind of came at this whole industry from the science perspective, where I had actually gone to school for marine biology, and that was my passion, was to just kind of help tropical coral ecosystems. And the way I found my path in my career doing this was actually coming back to New Hampshire and realizing that there's so many more important targets for humanity than just conserving the ecosystem itself. Like, we have to act in a way that's going to help them be conserved in future generations. So we ended up getting into like keeping bees and looking at local kind of regenerative agriculture, renewable resources, how this can all fit together, and lower carbon targets so that we don't have to get such a warming world so fast. So that's going to help save the coral. That's kind of why I'm doing what I'm doing today and how we got into things here. So
Awesome.
how I got into it.
What about you?
I'm kind of the flip side of, I went to school for business management, and just throughout the years developed a acquired taste for being, more sustainable, environmentally friendly throughout my life, not just where I work, but throughout my daily life. And Connor and I pretty much grew up together in this area. I knew he had that science head, and we ended up working together at another solar related company, and went off on our own when we developed SunFlower.
Perfect. When did it start?
Well, it was a project at first. It was just an idea. We were trying to see if we could sort of make a proof of concept, if you will, which actually turned into our greenhouse 1.0 system, which is a whole nother side of the business.
Yes.
We're here for solar today,
Yeah,
so
right.
that was our first dabbling into the renewable energy game, if you will, where we had to learn how to design the system to be off-grid functionality all throughout the year 365 without faults, hopefully. So that was our goal, was to prove that we could use renewable energy to farm. And that started in 2017. We filed as a business in 2018. We rapidly gained the knowledge necessary to sell residential and commercial solar, and here we are today, 2023. So,
Perfect.
yeah.
We took the doors and we handled them.
Absolutely. Well, we're here at a property that you installed solar panels at.
Yep.
And we were talking earlier. Can you just tell me about this property and the process and what the property owner has done so far to make this a solar house, so to speak?
Sure. So this individual has a completely electric house, which is not necessarily typical all the way across New Hampshire, given that we get really cold winters. A lot of people prefer to burn wood or propane in the winter for accessory heat, basically, in case it gets too cold for a lot of the modern heat systems that are out there that are electric. So this person basically is trying to future-proof their house by putting solar and batteries into the mix so that they don't have to worry about losing the grid, which would, if your power goes down, you lose electricity, all your electric heat systems no longer work. So the goal here for this individual was to get enough solar panels so that they really didn't have to worry about those factors affecting their life on a regular basis, because there is intermittency in the grid. We do lose power pretty frequently for seemingly no good reason sometimes, especially in the lakes region. So this person's goal was basically to avoid all those annoyances and sometimes really, big events that can affect your life if you got a completely electric home, no electricity.
Yeah. No, that's a good point. And so from a real estate perspective, when I go bring a buyer to a home, what makes a good candidate for a home to convert to solar?
So generally the most common things that you look for in someone who would be a good fit for solar energy in their life would be someone that uses any amount of electricity over a very small and marginal amount. Say your bill is $75 or $100 a month. That's kind of the threshold at which people are using enough energy so that the investment makes sense.
Okay.
A lot of people use way more than that. And the point is here that as people electrify their homes, they're going to continue to use more and more. Electric cars are becoming more common, and the energy usage just continues to go up. So people's electric bills, trending wise at least, are not going down, and their goal would be to offset those costs using solar instead. So they're always a good fit. If you use a lot of electricity or power at your house, it's almost always going to be a good investment as long as you have a good solar resource. And the panels are so efficient nowadays that helps open up the market to a lot more and more people that didn't get 100% sunlight in the past, but now it doesn't necessarily matter so much.
Okay.
And another big thing is, I know, in the world of selling homes, property value is important, aesthetic is important. So there's kind of a wide array of different styles of installs that can be done. You have ground mounted. Within ground mounted, you have bifacial panels, which can condense the system size footprint. You have tracker units, which are the ones that follow the sun, just that, track the sun. And then you also have your roof mounted systems, which can also vary. They're very malleable. If you don't want something that's road facing, we can find another roof face. So it's not just a cut and dry, you want solar, here's where it goes. It's a very malleable process, and at the end of the day, it's where the homeowner wants it.
Okay, very cool. I know that you had told me he might have the answer for this. I haven't been to a lot of homes that have solar, but I do see the lease versus owning thing. Can you speak
Sure.
on that a little bit?
Yeah, definitely. One of the main things that people get confused about when they're looking into solar is they think that it's going to cost exactly what their electric bill is to switch to solar, or that they might even be saving money monthly when they switch to solar. And there's no guarantee that that's going to happen. So a lot of the companies that have the resources to lease, large amounts of panels out to the masses are, doing their best to give a good rate so that people can basically rent just like you would rent a car or rent any other, rent a property. You're paying for the use of that item or space really in perpetuity or however long your lease is for. So people can save money in this sense where they might be getting a slightly better deal when they lease, but in terms of ownership of a system, that's going to be the quickest return on your investment, the most ROI, if you will, on the project. And it helps people really maximize how much they get back financially as opposed to just saving a little bit every month when they're leasing and renting the system.
Like buying a house?
Yeah,
And
exactly.
you have full
That's why you
control
buy
too.
property.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
Yeah.
When you buy a home, you can change the landscaping, you can
Right.
change the driveway, and it's the same thing with a lease versus own system.
Yeah, you're not buying.
You don't own those panels. It's at the whim of the company that leased them to you.
Of course, yeah.
So you have the ability, after 15 years, if you want to upgrade, you can upgrade. If you own the system. Same, situation with a ground mount. If you own the system, you can add on, you can change the landscaping, you can do all these things that you can't with a leased system. We're one of the only install teams that's start to finish on the lake, in the lakes region, let alone really the state. There's a handful at this point. We're not from another state. We know what happens here. We know current local electrical rates. We know the rate of inflation on average for electricity costs, but we also have that aspect of malleability. So we can kind of make it work for you. We can change install days, we can change consultation days, we can switch up system orientation very easily. We have the ability to work closely with local permitting companies or permitting offices at town offices.
Right.
So it's that ease of change, I guess you could say. That is a big difference between us and other companies right now.
Yeah. So you guys service all of New Hampshire.
Yep.
And you go into other states?
So we have the ability to go into Maine and Vermont.
Okay.
Mass we are currently working on.
Okay.
There's a little bit different restriction in terms of what you are required for installation licenses, permissions, and things like that. But yeah, right now we're operating solely in New Hampshire, Vermont, and Maine, with the hopes of expanding into Mass.
Perfect.
Yeah, and as we learn, we gain more expertise, along the way. When we need to be expanding with the new states, there's different market conditions and rules that you have to adhere to. So a lot of the time, we don't jump into new markets just because we can. We take our time to learn the landscape, if you will, and don't go in a manner where we're not actually going to understand what we're getting ourselves into. So touching on that, we're very light on our feet, I think would be a good way to put it. We can pivot really quickly for whatever the customer's needs are, and we're one of the only companies out there, I would say, in my experience, having seen a lot of different sides of the solar industry, that we touch on all different points of the installation process, all the way from the original consultation through customer service, however many years down the line the system's operational.
Yeah, which is so important right now.
Yeah.
Just that customer service aspect in those relationships.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we're accessible. We monitor all of our systems pretty much on a daily basis to make sure they're producing where they should be. We have the ability to do in-person and virtual consultations, thanks to COVID. But we were actually already in that process of doing so, just because we found that customers, it made it easier. They could be on the couch, they can just be hanging out with a drink in their hand, learning about whether solar's right for their home or not, or their business, because we do residential and commercial. So, I mean, it's at the end of the day, it's malleability. It's we can make it happen, whereas other companies kind of have it cut and dry.
Yeah, we understand all the nuts and bolts, and we're happy to do
Yeah,
it.
that's awesome. Well, perfect. Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you for
And
having
we look
us.
forward to hopefully working with you in the future.
Yeah, go jump in the lake, cool off.
Yeah, exactly. All right, perfect.
Thank you.